Shalom. Call Aloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rachakudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Yeah, we're going through the book of 1 Samuel within our weekly studies as a camp. And we read the 18th chapter this week. And two things stuck out to me, or really I should say two verses. It's one point, which is the fact that wisdom is what leads to you being successful. And they're interchangeable. Wisdom is success. That's how you become successful. You may notice that different situations within your daily walk, certain things happen, and maybe it wasn't the best outcome that you had wanted. When you reflect on it, you'll probably realize that you could have went about it in a different way, or you could have used different characteristics to get to whatever outcome that you wanted. And all that is wisdom. You could have went about it by using wisdom in a better fashion, and that would have led to you being successful. And so what I wanted to do here is just point out two different verses here that show that relationship between wisdom and success. So this is 1 Samuel chapter 18, verses 5, and we're going to read verse 30 as well. Verse 5 in the King James on the left says, "And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely." So now remember, if you read this book, then you'll know in chapter 17, David just whipped Goliath's ass in like a matter of 5 seconds, right? So, and Goliath was the hero of the Philistines. King David came out there, said, "Look, the power of the Israelites of Israel is going to deliver you in my hands." He beat him. So Saul and all his army was like, "Yo, who is this dude? Who's his father?" And then now Saul told David, like, "Look, you're staying with me." And he made him a part of his army, as we're reading right here, right? So verse 5, "And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants." Now, the NLT on the right. Whatever Saul asked David to do, David did it successfully. In the King James again. "And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely." So what is this saying? Because sometimes you read something and it helps out if you go into a different version so that you can capture fully what that verse is saying. Not all the time, but sometimes other versions break it down a little bit easier to understand in this English tongue that we have right now. So the way it was spoken, I'll use the phrase back in the day, right, was he behaved himself wisely. Right here in the NLT, he's saying he did it successfully. So Saul gave King David, at this time just David, right? Saul gave David certain orders, and he behaved himself wisely, or he performed those orders successfully. He was able to do these things successfully because he had wisdom. That's all it is. And of course, at this point, we know in the story that King David, well, he was going to eventually become king, and the Spirit of the Most High was on him, and it was eventually taken from Saul. But now we're understanding the contrast between what it means to be successful and what it means to have wisdom or behave yourself wisely. Now, you could just say, "Oh, well, it just means that he was obedient." Sure, that's part of it, right? But when you read down at verse 30, and this is why we're going to read this verse as well, is because it makes a point a little bit more significant. So verse 30 says, in the King James, once again on the left, "Then the princes of the Philistines went forth. And it came to pass, after they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by." Now the NLT on the right. "Every time the commanders of the Philistines attacked, David was more successful against them than all the rest of Saul's officers." So David's name became very famous. So now we're seeing right here, when it says he behaved himself more wisely, it means much more than just being obedient. Like, it's more than just listening. Because you can be obedient and listen, but the outcome isn't what you wanted, isn't what you expected. You weren't as successful. But no, it's letting us know right here in the NLT that behaving himself more wisely than means he was more successful than. So David was more successful in battle against the Philistines than Saul's other officers. So that's also what it means by he behaved himself more wisely. He was successful. So you can use that in your speech if you wanted to. Of course, nobody today in this American society or in this world ruled by Esau, Edom would know what that means, right? Oh yeah, he behaved himself more wisely at work than all the rest of the other employees. They're going to be like, what? What are you talking about? But yeah, okay, so you perform the task more successful than all the other employees at work. That's what that phrase means. More wisely. You were more successful. So you need wisdom. Wisdom equals success. If you find yourself in different situations, and especially if it's a consistent thing throughout the week, throughout your walk in this ministry, if you're not getting the outcome that you want, more than likely it just means that you're not applying wisdom. Or you're not going about it in the correct way. And that's something that you need to pray about. Pray about, maybe get into the scriptures more, read more of the Proverbs, read more of Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha. Get into different stories and see what men of old did and how they reacted to different situations. It'll help you out. You can draw from those examples, draw from the wisdom. It's no point in being able to read and call all these scriptures, but now you're not applying it to your life when you have the opportunity to do so. Behave yourself more wisely. Fuck. This is the book of Joshua. Of course, you should be thinking about this. And all we need to do is read this in the King James. Joshua 1 verse 8. Let me highlight it. It says, "This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night, that thou mayest observe to do according to all that is written therein." So meditate not only on the law, but everything throughout the scriptures. The commandments that came out of Yahushai's very own mouth, the things he told us to do, how he told us to act. Meditate on all these things. Of course, the law as well. Why not? It says, "For then thou shalt make thy way prosperous, and then thou shalt have good success." So you should be applying the words of wisdom in this book. Then and only then will you have good success. Then you'll be successful. It takes wisdom. And when you gain wisdom, then you gain other characteristics that can be applied in these situations. As an example, I'm going to come back to Sirach 39. But as an example, Wisdom of Solomon 8 verse 7, one of my favorite precepts. "If a man love righteousness, her labors are virtues, for she teacheth temperance and prudence, justice and fortitude, which are such things as men can have nothing more profitable in their life." So these four characteristics, temperance, prudence, justice, and fortitude, these are characteristics that wisdom gives you, that wisdom will teach you, and you'll be able to draw and use these things, these characteristics, in various different situations in your life. And then it says there's nothing more profitable that a man can have in his life. It's the most profitable thing. When something is profitable, it has value. It has some kind of gain within it. You'll notice that you're a lot more calm when you apply wisdom, when you use these characteristics. You'll notice that different situations don't bother you as much. The things people say, the things you see, maybe things, situations that happen to you, it doesn't stress you out. You're not worried, you're not bothered, because ultimately you have a higher level of understanding and you know why these things are happening. You know why people say certain things. Shoot, if you have prudence, you even know the outcome of situations before it actually happens, before it takes place. You know if you should speak, if you should say something. Maybe you should be quiet, not say anything. And if you do speak, if it is on your spirit, then you know what to say. You know how to calm somebody's mood down, how to quench, how to, what's the proper word? If you see an argument brewing, you know the certain words and things to say to lighten the mood. These are all things that wisdom teaches. These characteristics that it gives you to apply in these situations, and that makes you a very successful individual. Ultimately, the bigger purpose behind all of this is because we're learning to put our trust in the Lord and apply the wisdom that He's giving us so that we can continue to be as holy as possible, continue believing on His Son, Yahweh Shai, and hopefully receive salvation. That's the bigger purpose behind all of this. But it's a learning process that we're going through as we're coming back to being the sons of God, as we're stepping back into our heritage as the Hebrew Israelites. All right, we're learning more about our culture, learning more of what it means to be obedient to the Lord and doing His will and what He requires. So let me see what I went through so far. Wisdom of Solomon, Joshua, and of course, right, we wanted Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. 39, verse 1. It says, "But he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancient, and be occupied in prophecies." So this is what we're supposed to be doing in this ministry. This is a part of our job description. This is bullet point 1, right? Be in the book, learn about the law, get the understanding of the dark parables, the sayings, right? Know what the prophecies are talking about and meditate on it. Get into it. Verse 2, "He will keep the sayings of the renowned men, and where acceptable parables are, he will be there also. He will seek out the secrets of grave sentences and be conversant in dark parables." Now, let's jump down to verse 9. So, once you have gained this wisdom and you're meditating on the book, on this Bible, right? Verse 9 says this, "Many shall commend his understanding, and so long as the world endureth, it shall not be blotted out. His memorial shall not depart away, and his name shall live from generation to generation." What does that sound like? A very successful individual. Why? Because you were meditating in the law. You were seeking out parables. You were looking to gain all the wisdom that's in the book. And now that made you a man that's commendable. That gave you a name that's not going to be blotted out. And are we not right now looking forward to leaving or establishing a certain legacy that's going to be carried over into the kingdom of heaven? Hell yeah, we are. Everything that you're doing right now is going to establish your position, your rank in the kingdom of heaven. You should be striving right now to be a part of the 144,000, not just an Israelite that makes it in. Strive for the top. Why not? You don't go to school and pay all this tens and hundreds thousands of dollars, depending on what university you're going to, just to come out and barely gain any knowledge. Like, yeah, maybe you graduated, but you don't remember a thing. I was talking to this girl, like literally just having a conversation with her. And I forgot what she majored in, but she minored in French. And 4 years. No, I think she did it 5. Either way, 4 years of French. But she came out and she could barely speak a lick. She didn't know anything. Like, she knew like 10 words. That was it. I'm like, what? Like, how? You literally minored in this foreign language and you can't speak anything? I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm thinking I'm going to have a little partner to speak to every now and then when I see her, but nah, nothing. I'm like, how? But whatever, right? We're striving. The point is that we're striving. You should be striving to get that A+ score. Come out as on top, Tabernacle of David, 144,000. Be joint heirs with Yahushai. But that starts right now. So we have to gain wisdom now. Then your legacy and your rank will be established, and you'll have a name that's never blotted out, as we just read. Verses 10 and 11, nation shall shew forth his wisdom, and the congregation shall declare his praise. If he die, he shall leave a greater name than 1,000, and if he live, he shall increase it. It's a very successful individual, and that's because it came with wisdom, right? So wisdom equals success. If you notice that you're not winning in your smaller battles throughout the day, well, apply more wisdom. If you need to gain more wisdom, read and pray. It's that simple. Very, very, very simple tasks that the Lord gave us. Read, pray, fast, read, pray, fast, and do the work. So hopefully, I pray that this was edifying. Call Haloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Ba'ashem Rachakudash. Double honors to our apostles and elders, the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.